So we are now dealing with delayed union. Delayed union means that the mean time for union of a particular fracture has passed. So this is delayed union. And if the mean time has not passed, still the amount of union that you should have, supposing you should have, this is the amount of union that you are maintaining. Normally you should have, let us say, this much of union by this time, and the union that has occurred is this much. Then this is called as slow union. So you understand the difference between slow union
Yes.
and delayed union. So to diagnose slow union, you must have some quantific measures of measuring amount of union, some numbers. But first, let us finish the causes: ischemia, infection, interposition, inadequate reduction, inadequate immobilization, or pathological fracture or pathology. So we must finish these, understand these causes: ischemia, infection, interposition, inadequate reduction, inadequate immobilization, pathology. These are the causes of problematic union. And the problematic union is first slow union and delayed union. These two things you have understood. And now you must understand that as time passes, in 100 cases, in this much time, 90 would unite. In this much time, 10 more will unite. But after this much time, 5 more will unite. But after this much time, none will unite. So if this time has passed, then unless and until you interfere, the probability of union becomes 0. Alright. So after Y time, if probability of union is equal to 0, then at this stage, if you detect ununited, clinically or radiologically, then you say it is non-union. However, non-union means probability of union after this time is 0. Conventionally, this time is equal to 9 months. So if anybody asks you to define slow union, delayed union, non-union, then these are the basic definitions. Now, in KGMC, there was a candidate called Kanika, right? उसकी मैंने PhD कराई. तो ये जैसे टिबिया का फ्रैक्चर है, इसको तुम लोगों ने एक्सटर्नल फिक्सेटर से फिक्स किया है, ठीक है? तो इन एक्सटर्नल फिक्सेटर्स को वी हैड देम एपॉक्सी कोटेड. एपॉक्सी होती है ना, जो पेस मेकर के ऊपर वो प्लास्टिक लगाई जाती है, सो दैट इलेक्ट्रिकल दे बिकम नॉन कंडक्टिव. तो खाली इसके टिप्स जो थे, दे वर नॉट एपॉक्सी कोटेड. सो दीज वर एपॉक्सी कोटेड fixator pins. Okay, and this was also epoxy coated. Correct, but their tips were not epoxy coated. So this is pin A, this is B, this is C, this is D, and supposing this is proximal and this is distal. So we were able to measure resistance. So we were not able to measure resistance, we were able to measure impedance. I'll tell you why, but impedance, conductance and inductance. These things we were able to measure between pin A and B and C and D and B and C. So if we make a graph, the A and B was, let us say here, any of these, and B and C and D was here with time, and A and B was here, and gradually as union increased it approached this level. So when it reached this level, we were able to record the time. So there was this curve is, let us say this curve is normal, and supposing it was this, then we were able to say that this is slow union. Correct? So we found out that impedance was most closely related to chances of non-union. So we dropped conductance, we dropped inductance, and we said impedance. And when Kanika got the PhD from KGMC on this, and she presented her paper in Chicago, she won the gold medal. Alright? So this was a PhD guided by me, and this was to diagnose slow union. Right? So now we have a method by which we can sort of measure rate of slow. So, what can we do to deal with delayed or slow union? So one is electrical measurement, but previously people used to do osteomedallography. They used to inject a dye in one of the medulla, in the distal medulla, and if that dye passed into the proximal medulla, that means that the union would occur. So in delayed and slow union, you want to enhance union. And you enhance union by giving pulse on a base direct current, where you use the cathode at the fracture site and anode wrap proximal. So this is cathode, which is minus, and this is plus. And you give a current with a base of 10 milliamperes enhanced by a pulse of 5 per second, 5 per second on a base of 10. So this goes up to 15 and the frequency is 5 per second. So by this current, normally if tibia heals in 22 weeks, mean 22 weeks, then tibia healed in 12 weeks. So this is one of the research papers on delayed and slow union. Other thing is that you may not use direct current and you may use inductance. Thirdly, you may inject this area by marrow injection. So all these techniques are to treat delayed or slow union. Now what to do with non-union? First principle is patient under anesthesia, part preparation and draping done, and the fracture is exposed. All interposed tissue removed. All right. Cancellous graft for osteogenesis. Cortical graft, which can be onlay can be double on both sides or single. All right, on both sides. Inlay or intramedullary. And this can be fibula. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And sometimes this can be vascularized fibula. जैसे कि वो that tibial union that we saw, told you how to transfer the vascularized fibula to correct the gap, right? Cortical graft. Then you have to treat the gap, and a good technique of treating the gap is Ilizoro, in which you do a distraction osteogenesis, you dock the, so gap management. So these are the techniques that you use to treat non-union. So I think we have covered delayed union and